I know. Another live stream, another mentorship. Oh my goodness. How you doing, folks? I hope you're doing well. Give me a second here. I apologize for being slightly late. Uh, the OBS streaming service thing I use wasn't cooperating with me, so I couldn't find the settings to get my chart to show up. So I just want to make sure it's showing before I start doing any more jawboning. All right. It looks like we're live. I'm not sure. Give me a second. One more time. I apologize. Just want to see if I can hear myself in my headphones. Audio check one. Okay, it's about 3 second delay. That's pretty good. So I have it set to the lowest latency. So when I'm showing my like 15-second chart, or we won't go down to a 15-second chart today, but we'll go to 1 minute. All right, so let me explain to you why I'm even doing a mentorship here. Um, as you know, I've been trying to get my kids to want to do this pretty much since they were born, trying to mold them and get them into the mindset of not thinking for the purposes of procuring an income from someone else's hand, relying on them to say what they can earn, when they can go to work, when they shouldn't, when they can have time off. I don't like to cultivate an employee mentality because I don't have one. So my son Caleb recently had an interest in making another attempt at doing this. I know a lot of you always ask, how are my kids doing? How are they doing in their learning and whatnot? First of all, I make them work, and it's work hardening. It will make you want to leave it if you're forced to do it. If you get money from daddy, if you get a lifestyle given to you, it kind of makes you lazy, and you become very lackadaisical, and you just don't really have any pursuit in you. So that method I've used has hopefully done its work in the venom of making him want to leave the, the rat race, knowing that I'm not just going to dole money out to him. Um, his interest is again piqued and wants to make a good attempt at it. So I get a lot of questions about, if you're teaching your kids, how do you teach your kids? What is it that you do differently, if you do anything differently? And I honestly, I do things slightly differently because they're my kids. Okay, you're not entitled to anything from me. I'm not obligated to give you anything. I'm not expected, you know, to be your best friend or to be your guiding light. As much as I seem like I am in the videos, it's because I'm talking to my kids, and that's why you have this connection with me, because you hear the sincerity in what it is I'm teaching, because I care about them receiving it from me. So it's like an archive of me teaching, instructing, encouraging my own children. So when I'm talking with a sense of sincerity and empathy, it's genuine because I have them in my mind. Now, invariably, sometimes I get a student that's outside my family tree, and they'll contact me and they'll say, "Hey, look, I really appreciate if you could do this, this, that," and I would touch on those topics rather, and or one of my kids will say, "Dad, how do you deal with a situation like this, or what if the market does that, or how do you know when not to do something, or when should you really push it aggressively?" Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, not so much today, but I want to give like a baseline on where you should be at when you first sit down to start learning how to do this. Um, I'll push buttons in front of you. I'll talk about where the market should go. I'll talk about what PD array isn't so important to me at the time, and why, and the ones that I think are important. So that way it kind of like filters out. And because I plan on doing this Monday through Friday, it will be a exercise for you. Now, if you are already profitable, if you're already profitable, whether you're using my concepts or a derivative of them, or you're doing something entirely different, it's probably better that you don't watch the live stream. Just do what you normally do, because I'm probably going to distract you, or I'll be a perfect excuse for you. If you take a losing trade, you'll say ICT caused me to lose money, and you won't take responsibility, and you need to be responsible. Okay. Um, the things I'm going to touch on is obviously, you know, where your mind should be every day sitting down in front of the charts. You have to have some reason to be in the charts doing it. So that's the reason why I started the stream at around 8 o'clock. I know it's like 7 minutes late, but you're not mind flitter. So I can punch in late if I want, and I can go home early if I want. So I want to talk a little bit about that ahead of 8:30. We have a heavy news driver, the ISM PMI number at 10 o'clock. I'll be with you until probably like quarter after 10. Okay, but this mentorship, at least the first lecture here, is probably going to be a little annoying for some of you that just want to get out here and start pushing buttons. But I promise you, if you don't want to sit through this live, come back to it when you have time to do it, but before you watch tomorrow's live stream, okay? Because otherwise you'll miss the whole importance of what it is that you should be doing before you sit down, whether you're watching my live stream, someone else's live stream, or you're doing your own model, your own trading, okay? Because it's very, very important that you have a real reason of why you're doing it. Some of you are here and just want to see me do something and it not pan out. It's just something you can go on social media and get some clicks and likes and some interactions because you need to get your grocery bill paid. And that's fine. That's cool. But I'm not here to do those types of things. I'm not here to brag. I'm not here to boast. And yes, I'm going to win the Robbins Cups, so stop sending me emails, okay? Just stop. I got plenty of time for that. Don't worry about it. It's in the bag. Trust me on that. Okay, I told you all I would give you a drama. I'll give you a tragedy. I'll give you a tearjerker. But at the end of the year, it's my name at the top of that list. Okay, so just relax. Keep making your videos because you look stupid. Exposed ICT failed Robbins Cup. That's just going to make it even better. But anyway, our focus is going to be primarily on the NASDAQ today. But in this mentorship, I will go back to talking about Forex because I know a lot of you are stuck in that asset class. Okay, even though I'm not interested in pushing any orders through that market anymore, I will cover some of the things that are salient to that individual asset class when it is appropriate. But it's not appropriate right now, because right now I want you to think about what it is that you should be doing before you are trying to trade, before you're trying to trade with your funded accounts or trying to pass combines or whatnot. Full disclosure, I talked to Caleb and I asked him, what his intentions were, what he wants to do, what he's willing to do. He wants to share and document his progress, so he'll be doing a YouTube channel. So when I teach, um, I'm talking. He's not with me right now, but he's listening and watching it live like you are. So the things I'm talking about in this is going to be my suggestion to you. If you maybe you've watched some of my videos, maybe you watched a lot of my videos and you just don't know what to do or where to begin or what to do right now. What do I do right now? Because it's very daunting seeing how many videos I have and all these different concepts and all these different things, these moving parts. It's very intimidating, and I get it, but it's meant to be a compendium, meaning it's like it's my entire encyclopedia of what I'm willing to give to the public. So you can go in, you can build your own model. So I'm going to show my son how he should do it correctly this time, where it's step by step. Dad's going to be explaining it live, so that way there's no hindsight stuff. Not that it was ever hindsight when I was teaching him. He would watch me push the button right in front of him. He would see me explain, I think it's going to go here. This is where it's going to go next. I don't want to see it do this. I don't want to see it do that. This is real mentorship. Okay, we're not going to be doing any market replay. We're going to talk about theory and say, now let me push the market forward and watch what happens when you had the benefit of already knowing what it's going to do. That is absolutely not, that's not mentorship. That is absolutely not teaching anybody anything. And it certainly doesn't inspire trust in the person that you're learning from. because they have the added benefit of knowing what has already happened. So seeing live price action, watching data tick without the benefit of knowing what it's going to do is exactly what you as a trader are going to have to encounter. Every single time you sit in front of the charts, you don't know what's going to happen. And right now is a wonderful learning experience because the climate is so statically charged. Everything that's going on over in the Middle East right now, they're going to have reverberations throughout the entire market globally and probably in your neck of the woods where you live. So it increases the level of responsibility on your part as someone that wants to engage in these markets because they're very risky. And now add to it the increased level and amplitude of uncertainty where anything can happen. You know, a bomb drops or a series of bombs drop in an unexpected location, and then boom, everything starts changing rapidly. And that fear and that rush will be injected into the marketplace. And they will use, they being the people that are in charge of price action. It's not the buying and selling pressure that moves price. And you'll hear a lot about that as I go. And I know some of you don't like that. I know some of you don't believe in an algorithm. I know you believe that, you know, buyers and sellers push price, and that's fine. I'll leave you to that myth. You want to believe in fairy tales, that's your business. I'm not going to try to wake you up from your dream. Sleep tight. Price will do what it's going to do because it's coded to do it based on time. Okay. And time is essential. It's the first hallmark to when and why a market should produce a displacement, a run, whether it be impulsive, whether it be retracement, whether it be anything. It's always going to be delivered on the basis of time. It's going to move at a specific time or a period of time within 20 minutes. That's a macro. And we're going to talk about those things because I want to simplify it for my son. You all are getting that benefit of seeing it, hearing it, and being explained to you as if it were you being Caleb. I'm not hiding anything. I just sent him a text before I started. I said, just stop texting me. I'm doing it live right now. Don't talk to me in a text because you're going to distract me. Okay. So there's no secret texting going on. There's no conversation behind the scenes. Everything you see and experience while I'm doing these live streams is exactly what he's digesting the same way. And the things that I'm going to encourage him to do, my suggestion is to try it for yourself. And you're going to see everything that I taught is absolutely not complicated. The complication comes from people that want to take my stuff. They want to water it down to a 1, 2, 3 ABC pattern so they can go out to Amazon and write a book. There's dozens of books about me now. And I'm quite certain all of them are wrong. But it's a cash grab because my name's big right now. It won't be forever. And somebody else will become something interesting, and that'll be the new buzz thing. But right now, the problem with the community that has any interest in me is either they want to do the gotcha about me because it gives them grocery money, or they want to learn from me and then say they don't learn from me, but they talk with my vernacular. They use all my terms. They trade just like me, but they say they don't, and they do mentorships. So if you're one of those individuals, I'm going to help you too. Not because I want to, but because it's going to be a default. It's going to be a default response to you being here because you're going to learn how to finally do it instead of pretending, instead of talking about and teaching through market replay. Okay. Um, I asked my son what his interest was. He doesn't want me to give him money to trade with, which is good. That's cool. So I asked him what his intentions were. And I said, are you going to go through like a prop firm again? And he said he was going to use Top Step. Now, full disclosure, if anyone from Top Step is listening, I don't know if they do or don't. I know I have students in my mentorship that are affiliated with them directly, not just users of it, but they have no connection to me. They have no connection to my son, Caleb. There is no affiliate links. Okay, I have no connection with Top Step. I did not ask them to be a partner with me. They didn't ask me to be a partner with them. I'm not trying to push any of you to their company. I personally would not trade with a company like any of them. I personally wouldn't do it. I'm just stating full disclosure. While my son learns how to do this, when he feels equipped to do that again, he will then use Top Step to do a funded account. So that way everything could be seen through the lens of that instrument. So you can see what he's doing when he's making money, when he's not making money, if he does any withdrawals and gets payouts. You'll see all that stuff. Okay. So it's kind of like a test tube baby experiment. He's completely, well, he says he is. We'll see what happens when we get a little further along. But he says he's comfortable with disclosing all of it. And he wants to put it on his own YouTube channel. And why does he want to do that? Because I'm gonna kill that real quick, because I know a lot of you are twisted up and your panties are all in a bunch. Oh, if he's so good and he's your son, he shouldn't need to do all these things. Well, here's what he's doing. He's working a job, just like you are. You're working a job, but you're probably on other people's YouTube channels and you're trolling people and you're on their social media trolling because you're miserable, because you don't have any money. Dad's not giving him any money. He doesn't want dad to give him money. He wants to do it on his own steam. I respect that. That's exactly what I want him to do. I want all my kids to do that. I gave money to Cody and it didn't help him. So I learned my lesson there. So I make my kids work. If he knows there is an interest, and there's a huge interest in what my kids are learning from me directly. So if I'm willing to teach him that, and he's willing to share that, and I'm comfortable with that, because if he makes a YouTube channel while he's learning, yes, there will be ad revenue behind those videos that he puts up and shows his progress. That's not important right now in the grand scheme of things, because there isn't going to be a whole lot of viewership, I'm sure, initially. There's going to be the morbid curiosity of seeing him fail when he does fail, and they will be celebrated amongst the social media networks. Okay, that's great. That's good, because that draws a crowd. But when he has his milestones where he grows and gets a little bit more understanding and he finds his successes, and you hear him explain what he struggles with, when you hear him explain what he felt victorious over and what he made a big deal out of while he was first learning how to do it, and then he realizes it wasn't that big of a deal, it will personify the very things that I've already taught and mentioned in Twitter spaces, where I would more or less counsel, encourage them. But you think I'm talking to you? I'm talking to them. And it feels like you and I, have a intimate relationship, that I care about you on a personal level, because I'm speaking that way to them. So you can tap into that same network or hive mentality that I have directed towards my own children by going through this mentorship. It will be over life price action. It'll be uh, real experience that we can see what it is that you should be doing, and try at my best, try to steer you away from the things that you're probably going to want to be doing, but they're going to be detrimental to your development. And this first lecture is, number one, your mindset going into it, and then how we set up our charts, what we're looking for to start a baseline to determine what type of trader you're going to be. Because it's real important that I don't push you into a mold. Caleb needs to tell me what he wants to do. And then once he finds out what that is, and I'm going to teach how to determine what that is for yourself today too. Because if you don't have that direction, if you don't have that pathway, you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to chase things. You're going to worry about things that are not important. It's going to actually slow your growth. It'll slow down your productivity, and it'll hold you back. And there's nothing more challenging than feeling like you're not doing enough in trading. Because no matter if you're making money or not, you know what it's like. If you've made any money, whether it be a demo account, dabbling around with it, or you tried funded accounts and maybe you got lucky and you got a payout, and then now you never can do it again. What changed? Nothing changed. You just got lucky doing something that had no bearing on what you should be doing consistently going forward. It was just an aberration. It's something that, it just happened, but now you have attributed it to, well, yeah, that's skill. And we're going to show how you develop real skill, so that way you can produce a consistent baseline to evaluate, okay, Do I want to be a trader that focuses on long-term trend directional moves and only trading in that direction? Or do I look for periods where, even in those long-term daily and weekly movements, where can I see potential intermediate term or short term retracements? Because I understand the trend may be going in one direction, but it's something I don't trust to be a part of, because maybe you've tried entering on trend models and they burn you and they retrace deeply against you, and you feel more comfortable fading those types of moves. I'm going to teach on that topic as well. So that way you'll have reversal patterns, turtle soup, real turtle soup, not Twitter wish versions of it. The idea of knowing where the market should retrace deeper, maybe even the basis of retracing to set up a long-term trend model entry to get in sync with that daily and or weekly direction. So it's real important that you have some input initially, not just take everything I'm saying, writing it down in your notes and saying, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to follow it to the letter of the law, and then it's going to give me what I'm looking for. We're in that gray area initially where you have the responsibility, because if you don't do this part correctly, everything you do after this holds you up. And it's not because my stuff doesn't work. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good teacher. It doesn't mean that you can't be consistently profitable. It just means that you screwed up and didn't listen to this first lesson. You have to determine what you're going to do as a trader. And then whatever that is, you bloom there. You plant yourself in that. You don't care what Caleb does. You don't care what I do. You don't care what every one of my other students do that live stream and do it right in front of you. You don't care what anybody else is doing, even outside of my circle of influence. Whatever they're doing, whether they're being profitable or not, that's none of your business. You're going to have no bearing on their outcome or their results. You're not going to make them more money, and you're not going to prevent them from being profitable. So why waste any time trying to do that? Don't try to copycat anybody. Don't try to do that. The things that you should try to copy is the mindset about what I'm going to cover in terms of reading price. Very specific, generic things that are absolutely not complicated, folks. It is not complicated. Complication comes when people want to try to dilute it to make it look like it really isn't my concepts or my teachings or my lectures. That's what makes it complicated. That's why everybody asks for my slides from the mentorship. That's why everybody says talk little. You talk too much, because most of them are not English speaking individuals and they want to translate it into their local language. And if you are running a YouTube channel, I'm going to toss this in real quick. If you're doing a YouTube channel, and there's a dozen of you right now that I'm getting ready to do copyright strikes against, you're translating all of my mentorship videos into your local language, and I don't give you permission to do that. I've already taken down several channels that have done that. And you can be mad at me. You can send me hate mail. You can do all those things and be mad at me about that. But I've already said that I don't give you permission to do that. If you want to do that, go write a book on Amazon. That's what people have done. Okay. I can't stop you from doing that. And everybody apparently wants to buy them. So go ahead and go do that. But you don't have my permission to take the work, the time and effort I put into making the charts, the lectures, the graphics, all those things. I did that on my own. You don't have the rights to use them. So you're all going to lose your ad revenue on that, and I don't feel bad for you because I've already warned you ahead of time. So no, you don't have the permission to do that. But Caleb will have whatever he gets in terms of ad revenue to help meet his bills while he works his job, and it helps alleviate some of those things that plague people while they're trying to learn, which is I need to make money real fast, because you can't force being profitable. You can't do it, folks. You absolutely cannot do it. And I said this in my mentorship to my students. I said, listen, one of the best things you can do is create another stream of income. And I gave them permission that, hey, look, if you want to go out and live stream, not teach, that was when I was doing the mentorship, go out and show on a live stream and monetize it, that your development is here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be profitable, and I'm going to trade the Forex market, or I'm going to trade, you know, futures or whatever it is. Some of them trade crypto. I don't like crypto, but it is what it is. By the way, did you hear about crypto? Or Trump came out and said he was going to make America like the hub for Bitcoin. All of a sudden, Bitcoin fell out of bed. That's interesting, isn't it? But anyway, I encourage my students to live stream, to get a secondary income, because that passive secondary income can be a way of maneuvering the fear and anxiety away from you needing to be perfect in your trades, which is absolutely toxic. Absolutely toxic. You cannot have that mindset as a trader. You can't do that. You have to invite the opportunity for you to be wrong. And it doesn't sound productive. It sounds counterintuitive to say, okay, I invite myself to be incorrect about what my assumptions are about price action right now and when I go into a trade. When you go into a trade, as soon as you enter that trade, you've completely given the responsibility of the outcome to the market. You don't have any assurity that your stop loss is going to get you out at that price. You don't have that promise, that guarantee. The market could happen, especially in the conditions we have right now, where a bomb, a war can break out in an undisclosed location. Boom, unexpected events, bang, you have a huge gap. And it could gap way beyond where your stop loss is. And guess what, folks? That risk is always there. That's why every brokerage firm makes you sign these risk disclosures, because that's what can happen. And when it happens, you want to sue the brokerage company. You want to sue this one and sue that one, because the unexpected happened. And for individuals that trade with extreme leverage, that would never do that with a real account, but they are doing it with their funded account because all they got to do is pay the reset, or they get free resets because they have an affiliate program with one of these companies. It kind of promotes the wrong idea. Okay, it doesn't matter how many times you can show that you did something right here, but you're constantly restarting these new accounts. If you're an influencer and you keep doing that, you're actually having a detrimental impact on your viewership, because knowing that people have selective vision and selective hearing, they're attracted to when it's right and when it makes money. So therefore, I want to be like this person because look what they just made. But if you're not disclosing the entirety behind everything, and I just blew 25 accounts, or I just had to reset 16 accounts because every one of them just got blew out, it kind of defeats the whole premise behind what is it you're doing following them, except for just entertainment value. So I'm trying not to be um, anything but straight nuts and bolts. This is what you're supposed to be focusing on. But if I don't lay the groundwork initially on the first discussion here in the first 20 minutes or so, you won't know what we're doing. And you'll just be watching for something and anticipating or trying to predict what it is I'm going to say next. And that's not going to be helpful to you. In fact, it'll probably be very frustrating for you. And you'll either turn off and go watch the usual suspects on live streaming, or you'll just walk away and you'll do nothing with it. And maybe you'll come back to this live stream at a later time, but you'll still have this bitter taste in your mouth, and you won't be willing to write down the things I'm talking about and preparing yourself. You have to absolutely prepare yourself to learn properly. And if you don't have that mindset going in, everything you do, everything you focus on will be the wrong things. They'll all be doing things that are, moving towards consistently profitable. That's the number one goal, whether it be learning from me or learning from anyone else. It's not a task that is outside your grasp. Right now it might be because you're brand new. But if you do the things that I'm going to suggest to my son, and he doesn't rush, he doesn't rush to go and try to pass a combine, he doesn't rush to get a payout, he doesn't try to trade every single fluctuation in price, he doesn't try to do everything that I've made available to all of you, which is what most of my students try to do. They all dabble too much. And if you simply go through this simple question and answer for yourself right now, are you someone, now if you're not paying attention right now, you're distracted, you're going to miss it. But the type of person you are right now, are you someone, if someone says to you, I don't think this is possible, and it doesn't have to necessarily be trading, I don't think this is possible, or I don't think that you can do that. Are you someone that says, they're probably right? Or I'm going to show this person they're wrong, and I'm going to show them 12 ways that why they're wrong. And I'm going to do beyond what they thought I said or I was going to do or I could do, and they said I couldn't do. I'm going to do more than that. Okay? Because right now we're going to divide you all as an audience, because either you're going to be someone that's going to be influenced and held back by someone else's opinion or suggestion on you, or maybe you've watched someone else receive criticism. Okay, you've watched other people receive criticism, and then you somehow latch onto that like it was told to you, and you feel emotional about it, and you have a psychological response, and it was never directed to you, but you personify it and personalize it to yourself. That's very telling. That is a barrier for you as a trader. You may not realize it right now, but Friday I'm going to cover the contrast of all that. You may not know the answers to these things right now today because you want to think about what I'm going to tell you. And you all want to be able to say, yeah, I want to be the guy or gal that says, if you can't do this, I'm going to prove it to them, and I'm going to do this and do that. Chances are every male listening is probably going to be wanting to do that. But in honesty, all of you aren't really like that. You're influenced by other people's opinion, and it makes you feel unsure about yourself. It may be causing anxiety. It may feel embarrassment. You may feel like you don't feel like you're going to do well because of someone else's opinion about you. Or you have that spark, that inspiration, that, well, kicking the hinder parts, if you will, to now do something because it's a challenge that's been laid in your hands. It's like, now this is what it's like for me when I listen to other people. When they say this can't be done or no one can do that, I am the person, my personality is you tell me that that can't be done or that I can't do something, my mind immediately switches on. I'm in predator mode. Like, I'm in there looking for every way to come back at them and say, this is how you're wrong. And you were wrong here, and you were wrong here, and you were wrong there, and you were wrong there, here, there, everywhere. And I want to bury them in it. That's my mentality. And that's not a strength. That's just how I interact with outside influences. And that stems from a childhood that I had no control over the factors and environments that I was left in, which were dangerous and they were hostile. So as an adult, now I seek control all the time. I am a control freak. Everything and every aspect of my life, I have to have control over it. If I don't have any control over it, I have no interest in it. That's my disposition. That's how I am. You may not be that way. You may be very, very passive, and you may be very lethargic in terms of responding to things that are met as a challenge towards you. And you may be using that very perception about the marketplace, and that's your hindrance. That's the barrier that you have to, if you have that mentality, you're going to have to break through that. And it's not going to be easy for you, because what you're seeing is most people fail doing this. Most people are not consistent. Most people can't even determine where the market's going to go, let alone get in it without having stopped out or managed risk appropriately. That's the majority. That's the truth about this industry. Very, very, very few people can do this consistently. And you know this, but you're still willing to watch videos. You're still willing to try to practice and dabble, because you're waiting for some kind of magical thing to occur where it clicks for you. With no real effort, with no real study, with no real logging and journaling, you think it's just going to happen for you. That's not realistic. So part of this mentorship will be using the tools and resources of journaling properly. But what is it you're supposed to be journaling anyway? Because if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where the market's going to go next, because you don't know bias, You don't know profiling. You don't know session characteristics, day of week characteristics, seasonal tendencies, all those things. I'm going to present it in a nice, neat little package, but it cannot be done in one video. I don't I don't care how many people go on YouTube and try to say, I watched all of ICT's videos and now I'm going to show you in 5 minutes how you can do it and you don't have to do that. I promise you, okay? Here it is, $500,000, okay? Go out there, you don't know what you're doing right now. Go out there and watch one of the 5 Minute Trainer YouTubers, okay? And you got 4 weeks to pass a combine and make $100,000 by the end of the year. If you can prove that, I will give you $500,000. I will drive to your location as long as you're in the States. I will drive, because I don't fly, I'll drive to your place and you can live stream me giving you a $500,000 bank check. Okay? That stuff doesn't work, folks. You're going to have to put some real effort into it. You can't condense it. You can't reduce it down. Okay? And a lot of people don't realize what I just did. I just made a lot of those guys mad, and now they're all going to really do their little micro mentorships. And really, what that does is going to bring more traction back to this mentorship because they're going to work for free. But anyway, see that? Everything's predetermined. He's maniacal. He's a mastermind. He's diabolical. Anyway, the very first step is for you to determine where you are mentally, and then determine ahead of time, preparing yourself what adversities are going to be in front of you. For the folks that are saying, okay, you say I can't do this, or someone else is saying that you can't do this, you're going to go at it 100 miles an hour. That's good that you have confidence in yourself, but the problem is you're going to overstep that and become overconfident. And then as soon as you're met with that first adversity, it's going to really hold you down. And it's going to cause you to second guess the next step of stepping out there in faith and determining what it is that you're trying to do or practicing. And then what you end up doing is the initial strength is I'm strong, I'm confident, and nobody's going to tell me I can't do it. I'm going to do it better than I would have done it if they would just invited me to do it casually. But now because they said I couldn't do it, I'm going to do a superhuman Olympic feat of it. And by doing that, what you end up doing is you increase the level of adversity, the difficulty. You put a time limit on it, which is the worst thing in the world to do. You absolutely put a time limit on how fast you should learn how to do something. As soon as someone starts telling you, I'm going to teach you how to do ICT or anything else in this number of days, absolutely, I promise you, they are full of grade A manure. They're lying to you. That's clicks for money. They want you to either buy something they're going to upsell to you later on, or they want you to keep watching their videos that are not going to help you. They may be entertaining, but they're not going to supercharge your understanding. They're not going to make you faster at learning it, okay? The only thing they're doing is trying to capitalize on a market that's huge right now, which is TikTok mentality. You know, 10-second, 15-second, 30-second time span of attention span. And I have no patience for anyone, zero patience for anyone as a student that thinks like that. I broom them quickly. I get them out of my face. I don't want to have any interaction with them because you're absolutely lazy. You're absolutely lazy. You want it easy, you want it real fast, and you have unrealistic expectations. And anyone that has common sense will tell you that that is someone that will not be successful. Period. End of story. If you don't want to warm up to the idea of how to do this properly and understand, really understand, that's what mentorship is, understanding how you're going to most likely interact with the marketplace, what's a reasonable response to you for you feeling this way or that way should the market produce an outcome that was either favorable or not favorable for you. How are you going to interact with? Let's say the first time you sit down and you try to test something and it takes off and runs like 150 handles in the NASDAQ. What's that going to feel like for you? You're going to feel ecstatic. You're going to be excited. And you're going to feel like, wow, this is a whole lot easier than I thought. And that's wrong.